Why did Mark Cuban just sell a majority stake in the Mavericks?
He knows, yeah, he knows something
I'm with you with that one.
that we do not.
He's very shrewd as a business person and is known for selling things at their peak. And when it comes to the league right now and creating storylines and where the league is headed as far as the TV money that funds everything, I think that well is gonna dry up.
In the morning of December 27, 2023, Mark Cuban stepped outside to check his mail just like any other day. But this morning was different. As he reached in and pulled out an envelope, his eyes lit up. His smile, though bright, held a hint of bittersweetness as he read the letter inside. It was from Miriam Adelson, with a check made out for $3.5 billion. This moment sent shockwaves through the NBA fandom. Fast forward to July 9th, and Wyc Grousbeck, majority owner of the Boston Celtics, stared at the Larry O'Brien trophy they'd won just a week before. With a deep breath, he filed the papers to sell the team. Both men, true entrepreneurs, were ahead of the curve. They knew something we did not. From the 2021 to 2024 NBA seasons, 3 players have dominated the league statistically: Nikola Jokic, Joel Embiid, and Giannis Antetokounmpo. These big men have terrorized NBA defenses, and notably, no other player has won an MVP since James Harden in 2018. Jokic alone has won 3 out of the last 4 MVPs, and statistically, he's in a tier above the others. But interestingly, despite his dominance, Jokic has not been seen as the face of the NBA. If we look at the rankings for jersey sales this past year, we see Steph Curry and LeBron James lead the pack, with Jokic at only 13. Why was the best player in the league so far off from being the most popular? Every major business in the United States has a face, a leader whose job is to direct and propel the company toward growth. They may not always be the owner of the company, but they are typically the figurehead. For example, when you hear Tesla and Amazon, you immediately think of Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos. But when it comes to sports, the face of the company is typically their biggest star. In the UFC, it wasn't the Fertitta brothers who were the majority owners, or even Dana White, but the notorious Conor McGregor, who represented the brand to millions of fans. But for a sport like the NFL, Patrick Mahomes is the first name that comes up, and before him, Tom Brady. Likewise, the NBA has always had a singular player to carry its mantle for each generation. These players not only perform at the highest level on the court, but they also generate revenue, sell merchandise, and shape the league's public image. This is no easy burden, and that's why the NBA promotes and protects these players as much as possible. They are featured in commercials and billboards worldwide, given multiple shoe and brand deals through their play, which inspires and brings joy to billions worldwide. These athletes aren't just players, they become the face of the NBA. But the NBA has found itself in a predicament in recent years. They have been searching exhaustively to develop the next young superstar to carry its mantle. But so far that hasn't happened. And a league without a face is a league that's destined to collapse. So, what does it take to be the face of the league? What separates these players from the rest of the superstars? In the entirety of the 2010s, LeBron James was synonymous with the NBA. Some would say he's the face of the league the moment he stepped foot on the court. Heck, you could even make an argument that he was still the face of the league in his 21st season. However, in the 2010s, a small kid from North Carolina emerged and caused a glitch in the system, which took the league by storm. That glitch was an unprecedented ability to shoot the basketball, which revolutionized the league. That kid's name
They do have a
was
timeout.
Steph
Decide
Curry.
not to use it. Curry, way downtown. Bang! Bang! Oh, what a shot from Curry! With 0.6 of a second remaining.
From 2015 to 2017, Curry led the NBA in jersey sales. Curry wasn't just great, he was electric on and off the court. This greatness propelled him to share the mantle with LeBron as being the face of the NBA. But what about the faces before him? Who were the players who came before Steph that served as the league's public image? Did they, like Steph, revolutionize the game of basketball in order to cement their legacy? Is that what it takes to become the face of the league? Throughout NBA history, each era has had its face. In the 50s, it was George Mikan. In the 60s, Wilt Chamberlain and Bill Russell. In the 70s, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. However, the NBA didn't fully embrace its stars during these times. The 70s are often referred to as the dark ages for the NBA. Troubles on and off the court plagued the league, and Kareem, despite his dominance, was not enough to lift the league out of its financial woes. The NBA simply wasn't ready for prime time. But things changed when David Stern became commissioner in 1980. You see, David Stern saw basketball not just as a sport, but as entertainment. He knew the power of storytelling, which led him to create NBA Entertainment, a department in which they focused on marketing NBA stars and telling stories. This change came into effect at the perfect time as Magic Johnson and Larry Bird were rising to stardom, bringing the NBA back to its original roots. The rivalry between Magic and Bird was just the story the league needed at the time. As the 90s were on the way, Stern lucked out as the next big star right after them came the most charismatic of them all, someone who was feared on and off the court and brought the NBA to international heights, someone who eventually became synonymous with greatness. Michael
Michael into the
Jordan.
front court. Left corner shot by Jordan. Goal!
If charisma is key to being the face of the league, then who held that title in the 2000s? Most would agree that Kobe Bryant was the face of the NBA during the late 2000s. But what about the early part of the decade? Was it Shaq, the most dominant big man the league has ever seen? Was it Tim Duncan, one of the greatest defenders of all time? Or was it Allen Iverson, whose style and swagger influenced millions of fans worldwide? Interestingly, the number one player from 2001 to 2003 who sold the most jerseys were Kobe Bryant, Kobe Bryant, and Kobe Bryant. And that's despite Shaq winning Finals MVP in each of those years. In fact, Kobe sold the most jerseys in 6 out of 10 years during the 2000s. Popularity often outshines talent, and Kobe's influence was unparalleled. So what do Magic, Bird, Jordan, Kobe, LeBron, and Curry have in common? Not only were they entertaining players, but they all frequently made the NBA Finals. Let's focus on the last 3 faces of the league. Steph Curry, who's made the finals 6 times, led the league in jersey sales 4 times. Kobe Bryant, with 7 finals appearances, topped jersey sales 6 times. And LeBron James, who's played in an incredible 10 finals, has held the highest selling jersey a total of 9 times now. In fact, 12 out of the last 19 highest selling jerseys belong to a player whose teams made the finals that season. This clear correlation between final success and jersey sales underscore how vital winning is to securing a player's status as the face of the league. And this brings me to my next point. Victor Wembanyama and Anthony Edwards are 2 rising stars with potential to become the next face of the NBA. Edwards has an unmatched charisma and a game that draws comparisons to Michael Jordan, while Wembanyama may be the most gifted athlete the sport has ever seen. Add that to the fact that his playstyle is more of a guards than a traditional big man. His combination of size and skills make him an exciting and relatable player to fans that many big men in the past just simply lacked. However, both have long roads ahead. Wembanyama will likely endure early struggles as the Spurs build around him, much like LeBron and Jordan early in their careers. Edwards, on the other hand, must push his team to the NBA Finals to solidify his place as the face of the league. Which brings me to my final point. I mentioned in the beginning of the video that Mark Cuban and White Grousbeck knew something that we as fans failed to realize when they sold their franchises. They knew that the Dallas Mavericks and Boston Celtics were exploding in popularity and are reaching new heights in revenue. They understood that it was actually the perfect time to sell their franchises as they were set up to enter a new golden era which maximized their value as much as possible. And they knew exactly what was driving the surge in popularity and revenue. You see, in this entire video, I have not mentioned two young superstars. Two players who have been on a collision course their entire careers and are just starting to enter their primes. Can you guess who they are? They are the two who matched up against each other in the 2024 NBA Finals. Luka Donic and Jason Tatum. Jason Tatum, one of the league's premier superstars. As good as he is, he's still no Luka Donic. Luka Donic has been dazzling fans with his once-in-a-generation talent, consistently putting up historic numbers, establishing himself as one of the most gifted players in the game. His skill set, charisma, and ability to take over games have made him a global sensation. In terms of raw ability, Luka is in a league of his own. Luka's thrilling playoff performances and his leadership in taking the Mavericks to the 2024 NBA Finals have only added to his mystique. Pair that with Dallas's key roster additions like Klay Thompson, Kyrie Irving, and a growing pool of young talent, Luka seems primed to lead the Mavericks to even greater heights in the near future. All signs would point to Luka Donic being the next face of the NBA. Right? Well, not so fast. Here we have a graph that shows the rankings for jersey sales between Luka and Tatum over time. Early on, Luka held a strong lead, but over time, Tatum has gradually overtaken him in recent years. Despite these shifts, the graph highlights just how closely their popularity has mirrored each other, while both players are experiencing similar peaks and valleys throughout their careers. The same pattern emerges when we look at the metrics like Google searches, where these two have consistently remained side by side, locked in a rivalry that shows no signs of fading. While Tatum may not be yet on Luka's level talent-wise, history shows that being the best player doesn't always make you the face of the league. Despite Luka's immense talent, Jason Tatum's journey tells a different story. Tatum has already reached the NBA Finals twice, giving him an edge in terms of postseason success. Playing in a weaker Eastern Conference with the powerhouse Celtics roster strengthens his path to consistent contention. And Tatum's popularity isn't just comparable, it's undeniable. Whether it's his clean-cut image, his international appeal, or his role as the leader of one of NBA's most iconic franchises, Tatum has the visibility and connection with fans that the league thrives on. History has proven that being the best player doesn't always mean being the face. Tatum's playoff resume, marketability, and ability to carry the league's brand position him as the player most likely to define the NBA's next era. So while Luka Donic may dominate the highlight reels, the next face of the NBA may very well be Jason Tatum.